Hey everyone, welcome back to 7th grade science. I'm Miss Harrington. I teach here at Phillips. I teach 7th and 8th grade science, but I'm going to focus again with you this week on 7th grade science. Now we tried this last week. Let's see if we can make it work this week. If you have a device or you want to use your computer, you can go to www.slido.com. and it'll ask for a code, and the code is 5106. Now the trick is, if you want to answer questions live with me, the question actually has to be on the board for you to see it on your device. So if you're logged in right now with the code, it's going to tell you that there's no polls available, but just leave it there, because once I pull the question up on the screen, you'll be able to see it on your screen and answer the question as well. Okay, so this code will be at the top and the website will come up with the question. So I'm going to move on and get us started today. We ended with the skeletal system last week. We're going to focus on the muscular system this week, and we're going to see a little bit of things between the two that help each other out. But let's talk about our key concepts first. So we're going to talk about what the muscular system actually does, and what types of muscles you have and how they differ, and also how the muscular systems interact with other body systems. Now, what I like to do before we get started is think about some statements. The first statement is the same type of muscle that moves bones also pumps blood through the heart. So think about it. Before we've even gone through this lesson, do you agree or do you disagree with that statement? We'll come back at the end and see what you think. Also, it says muscles cannot push bones. Think about whether you agree or disagree with that as well. All right, we're going to move on to the functions now. So the functions, first of all, our muscles are made of strong tissues, and we talked about in the beginning of the year how cells are the smallest living things. And when cells work together, they form an organ. And in this case, we're going to talk about our muscles. Those are organs. So strong muscles are strong tissue that contract and they work together in an orderly fashion. And we're going to talk about what those different functions are. The first function is movement. So all of these cool new TikTok videos with the new dances, your muscles are helping you do those moves. So it's really important to have the movement of your muscles. And how this works is your muscles attach to your bones. And when your muscles contract, they move your bones. But not all muscles are attached to your bones. We do have some that are attached to different organs. So we'll talk about that. Now, in our stability also, we have muscles and tendons that help keep you balanced. So if you ever get off balance, your muscles can actually help get you back to a balanced part. If you look at your hand, in the back of your hand, if you move back and forth, you can see the little cord-like structures that are moving, and those are tendons in your hand, and they actually help support your joints, so you can actually move your hand and move your fingers. You can move your wrist back and forth as well, and those are super important with health and stability as well. Also, your posture your muscles help with the stability of your posture as well. Okay, also in protection, so we talked about how your skeletal system protects our organs, but your muscular system is also an extra padding for that as well. So it's going to cover different things like your chest and your back, and it's going to protect internal organs as well. Temperature regulation is super important. So what happens is when you get cold, you start to shiver. Well, your muscles are actually doing you a favor. They're transferring chemical energy from your body into thermal energy, also known as heat. And so it's heating your body back up. It's important that we stay at about 37 degrees Celsius or 98 degrees Fahrenheit in order to have our body in a stable state. Also, when you get hot, your body tends to sweat. So your muscles and your skin help with that and taking that thermal energy and pushing it out to your body, so your sweat will help cool your body off. All right, let's see if we can get this poll to work. If you're logged into slido.com with the code 5106, let's see if you can answer this question. At this point, if you are logged in correctly, you should see the question and the answers. And I'm not seeing anyone answering it, so we might not be working this time either. But the question says, which of the following is not a major function of the muscular system? Oh, we've got people answering. Okay, so which of the following is not a major function of the muscular system? So I see a lot of different answers here. So let's talk back of the things that we looked at. Protection, we know for sure that our muscles can protect our inside organs, also our back and our chest. Support, we didn't really talk about support for that. Remember, support is more of your skeletal system. Temperature regulation, our muscles help us keep a stable temperature in our bodies by either shivering or helping us sweat. And then movement, of course, our muscles are attached to our skeletal system or our bones, which helps us move. So support would be the one that is not necessarily a function of the muscular system. So thank y'all for participating in that. We have another question. So now this question should be updated on your screen. What is a function of tendons? Does it attach muscle to bone to bone, or muscle to muscle? Ooh, we're going strong on this one here. So we talked about how you have tendons in the back of you can see the tendons working in the back of your hand. And what tendons do is they attach your muscles to your bone, muscles to your bone. And remember, if you can move your hand, you have bones in your hand, but you also have the tendons that help move those bones. All right. Let's take a break from questions really quickly and talk about our 3 types of muscles. We have skeletal muscle, we have cardiac muscle, and we have smooth muscle. And you can see the pictures here kind of describe what the muscles are doing. In cardiac muscle, you can see is the picture of the organ of your heart. You have smooth muscle, which is showing your stomach, and then you have skeletal muscle, which is showing an arm, which is where your bones and muscles attach. Okay, real quickly, skeletal muscle, we've talked about this a lot. Muscles attached to your bones, and this is what causes movement in your body. So there's 2 key terms we're going to talk about here, and the first one is voluntary muscles. Your skeletal muscles are voluntary muscles simply because you are consciously telling your body to move. So in other words, you're volunteering to make the movement. So if you move your arm back and forth, you're telling yourself to move your arm back and forth. So voluntary, just think about volunteering to do something. You're consciously telling your body to do that. Okay, contractions of your skeletal muscles are quick and powerful, and also it allows you to run. So you could have a quick and powerful movement of running, but also if you've ever stretched or walked very slowly, they can help control a slow movement as well. And just a brief overview of how your skeletal muscles work together. Most of the time they work in pairs. So for example, your bicep and your tricep muscles. So when you pull your arm up, your bicep is actually contracting and your tricep is not. It's more relaxing. But if you pull your arm down, your bicep is relaxing again with your tricep contracting in that case. Okay, as far as your cardiac muscle goes, it's exactly what it sounds like. Your heart is made of cardiac muscle. Now, your second term, key term, is involuntary. And all that means is that you're not having to consciously tell your body to pump blood or to beat your heart to beat or anything like that. It's doing that on its own. And that's really important because we can do a lot of other things without having to think, oh no, heart, pump blood. So it's really important that it does this involuntary. In cardiac muscles, they still work with contractions. So all muscles are going to work with contractions. I'm going to show you a little example here. We have a little setup with a mason jar. It's halfway filled with water, and I have a balloon over the top with a straw stuck in it. All I'm going to do is I'm going to push down on the balloon, so that's going to be more of a contraction. And when it contracts, you're going to see what happens. So when I push down, a little bit of water comes out. Whoop, it broke that time. But when you push down, the water came out. So that's an example of how when your heart muscle contracts, it's going to pump blood through the body. That's important. Not only do you need blood going through your body, but also you need that oxygen in your blood to get to the places it needs to be. Okay, so that's just an example of how the contraction of your cardiac muscles work. Okay, smooth muscles. So this is one that you probably haven't heard much of, and if you have, great. But if not, it's okay. It's very simple things like your stomach, your digestive system, anything that has to push food or nutrients, even your blood vessels pushing blood through your body, has smooth muscle in it. And it works in the same way as contracting and relaxing. So I have here It's a fishing pole jacket, and it's kind of like mesh, really. You can see you have a bouncy ball in here already, and where the ball is represents nutrients going through your body. You can see how the fishing roll jacket is actually stretched out. But if the stomach muscles contract or push down, it's going to push that nutrient through your body. So it contracts, and now you can see it's relaxed as well. So even if I put more through, you can see again the contraction is going to expand out and push those nutrients through your digestive system. All right, so let's look at our Slido.com again. If you have that up and running, you should see this question and those answers on your screen. So where is cardiac tissue? Let's see who is still participating here. Ooh, we have a lot of people here. I can see 5 have answered so far. Great, guys. Cardiac tissue is actually in the heart. Your heart is made of cardiac tissue. Okay, let's look. What happens when the bicep muscle contracts? So think about when your bicep contracts, if you're trying to show off those muscles. Okay, good. I have people still answering. Awesome. The muscle shortens and pulls the lower arm up. Good job, y'all. All right, new question. Your screen should be updated. Which is not a type of muscle? We talked about 3 types of muscles. Which is not a type? Have some quick answers there. All right, our smooth muscle, remember, is mainly our digestive system and our blood vessels. Skeletal muscle is where our bones and muscles attach. And then our cardiac muscle is our heart. So the only one we have not talked about being a type of muscle is the nervous tissue. All right, it is super important. We talked about skeletal system last time and how it's important to keep your bones healthy. Well, it's also important to keep your muscles healthy too. So a good diet with plenty of nutrition as far as fiber, potassium, protein, those keep your muscles strong. And if your muscles are strong, you're able to move your body without it hurting or getting hurt. Your heart is able to pump sufficiently, blood vessels able to work, digestive system works. So exercise also helps. Now when I say exercise and you think of muscles, no, I'm not talking about lifting 1,000 pounds. Exercising could be anything from going on a walk, it could be playing a sport, it could just be simple activity to get your body moving instead of just sitting on the couch. So it's important to have healthy muscles because your bones are easily injured if we don't have healthy muscles protecting them. Also, it's a risk of heart disease too if we don't have that healthy diet and that healthy movement going on. And typically muscles, if you're not going to use them, will eventually get weak and shorten up. So it's important to keep moving so your muscles are active and that doesn't happen. We used the word homeostasis last week, and that's your body at its stable condition. And it's important for your body to be stable so it functions properly. And really, the room where you're sitting is probably between 21 and 27 degrees Celsius, but remember your body needs to be 37 degrees Celsius, which is about 98 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's important that your body is working in order to get it up to the temperature where it's comfortable rather than room temperature. And the ways that it can do that is if you exercise. Also, when you eat, remember your body is digesting food, your heart is pumping blood, your blood vessels are moving blood and nutrients, and all of that is actually converting chemical energy into thermal energy. So your body is producing heat without you really even knowing it, which is really cool, so you don't have to think about it doing that. Exercising will actually get more oxygen to your body quicker because your muscles are going to realize that they're working and they're contracting. And your heart is going to think, okay, I need to pump more blood and get more oxygen to your body. Some words that we've talked about today is cardiac muscle, your involuntary muscle, muscle itself, skeletal muscle, smooth muscle, voluntary muscle, all of those things that we've talked about today. So think about maybe writing a sentence that explains the difference between voluntary and involuntary muscle, because we've talked about those and the differences between them. If you can tell the difference between them, you can think about what these muscles are doing. All right, we talked about these statements. The same type of muscle that moves bones also pumps blood through the heart. So think about what you thought beforehand. Do you agree or disagree with that statement now that we've gone through the notes? Okay, so the same type of muscle that moves bones also pumps blood through the heart. If you disagree, you are correct, because remember, our skeletal muscle moves our bones and our cardiac muscle pumps blood through your body. Also, it says muscles cannot push bones. Think about if you agree or disagree now. Think about your skeletal muscles and actually moving your bones in order to move your body parts. So if you agree, you are correct. Your muscles do push on your bones. We're going to get into skin now. Very briefly, just some things. We're going to talk about what skin does. How do the 3 layers of skin differ? And also, how does the skin interact with other body systems? And remember, we've talked about the skeletal system and the muscular system so far. Okay, one thing to think about, let's look at these statements. Skin helps regulate body temperature. Do you agree or disagree with that? Just think about it. And we're going to go through these slides and see if you feel the same way at the end. Also, skin is made of 2 layers of tissue. Okay? All right, your functions. First of all, your skin is a part of your integumentary system, which is made up of all the external parts of your body, like your skin, your hair, and your nails. And we have many functions here. Some of these functions might sound familiar because they work together with your skeletal and muscular system. Like protection, we've talked about protection twice now. So the skin covers your bones and muscles, and it protects from the outside environment. So it can protect you from getting sunburnt to a certain level, then we need to use sunscreen. But it also can protect from bacteria and viruses and other substances entering your body through your skin. Another thing that our skin does is a sensory response. Sensory meaning I can feel the top of this table and feel that it is smooth. If I pick up the fishing rod jacket, it's a little rough. And not only can you see the differences in those, but your skin allows you to feel the differences. I could feel if the stove top was hot if it's turned on. Now, I don't want to actually do that, but your skin can feel whether something is hot or cold as well. You also have nerves in your skin that can help sense the pain of those things or something that's not painful. Temperature regulation, again, is super important for our body to remain stable, and your skin can help control your body temperature as well. So you have these tiny holes in your skin called pores. And really what that does is your skin is excreting or getting rid of waste all the time. Sweat is one thing that you can think of that your body gets rid of to cool your body off. But really it's important to keep that body cooled off at certain points so you don't overheat. Also, blood vessels near the skin surface can actually dilate, and when they get bigger, they have a bigger surface area, so you're going to have more thermal energy releasing at that point. The last few functions is producing vitamin D, which is important because it can absorb calcium and phosphorus, and it also helps your bones grow. So if your skin is exposed to sunlight, it does create vitamin D. Now, does that mean go into the sun and not wear sunscreen? No, it can't protect you from all the bad UV rays, just some. But it's important to get that sunlight and really get that vitamin D going so you can keep your bones strong as well. Elimination, like I said, your skin is constantly getting rid of waste. Waste such as water, salts, things, processes that are going in your body, heat energy is released as well. So it's important to have that elimination so that you can get rid of waste in your body. And this is doing this whether you know it or not. Now, you think of getting rid of waste as sweating, and that's true. But your skin is actually getting rid of things while you're just sitting there and not thinking you're not doing anything. Your body is still functioning in a lot of different ways. All right, another question. If you're logged in, you should have an updated question on your device. Which of the following is not a way the skin regulates body temperature? Woo, I got some people ready to go. Okay, so which is not a way that skin regulates body temperature? There we go. Some answers are changing. So think about it. Are we always using a blanket? No, we are not. Are we always sweating? No, we are not. But we can release thermal energy from your blood vessels. We do sweat a lot as well, even though when you're not realizing it, we're getting rid of other waste. But your answer for not always regulating your body temperature would be using a blanket. All right, you have structures of your skin. You have 3 different parts, and I'm going to briefly go over those real quickly. Your first part is your epidermis, which is your outer layer. And when I was growing up, I don't know why I remember this, but when we started learning about skin, kids would walk up to you and say, your epidermis is showing, and you're like, oh, where? But now that we know what our epidermis is, it's not as funny. But your epidermis is your outer layer of skin. It has a pigment called melanin, which is what actually protects you from the UV rays of the sun at first. Then you have your dermis, which is your middle layer, which is where your blood vessels are, your sweat glands, and all those different things that make up all the elimination and waste products of your skin. And then you have the fatty layer, which is the inside layer, and it's simply there to help regulate body temperature. It can also store fat just in case your body needs to send it throughout your body for different reasons. Now, we're going to go ahead and wrap up there, and we'll pick up on the rest of the skin next week. If you want to go back through some questions, you can go through the packet that y'all have received and look at the questions that I've talked about. And we will pick up with the rest of skin and then hopefully get into the digestive and excretory system next week as well. So I hope everyone is staying safe, and I will see y'all next week.